Kenny Clark, and this is Lombardi's Bar.
This is one of my favorite podcasts to do.
I'm just, blessed and thankful to be a part of this podcast. It's a great podcast. It's a great interview.
Maybe I know that you guys, obviously being the best Packers podcast that's out there.
I had Malort this weekend, so I'm not tasting anything.
Oh, good.
He did.
God.
He did. That was fantastic.
Because they said, "Did you ever try Malort?" And I said, "No." And then they said, "Do you want to take a shot of Malort?" I said, "No," but I did.
Wait, who said
It's called peer pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried getting a high honors English class once, and they called my parents and were like, "Hey, just tell him he can't do it."
It shows. It really shows.
I hate you guys so much.
I'm going to throw these two guys into the screen so that if I die, they can carry on the legacy of crap that is this show.
Once again, Green Bay Packer fans, welcome to another episode of Lombardi's Bar here on the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. I'm your bartender, Dan Connick. If you are new to the show, if you have not done so already, make sure you take a quick second to go over to the YouTube page, hit subscribe so you get notified every time we go live here on the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, review, share us. Send us in anonymous posts and DMs on Twitter. Yes, Emma, the victory chain is back, but the Riz, we're vibing with the victory chain, but the Riz is at a low. Feels like everything that's going on with the game, off the field, the Riz, it's off. It's off even after a victory. It's a weird place to live for Green Bay Packer fans. Let's bring in two more Green Bay Packer fans to talk about it. It's Jimmy and it's Todd.
Can we retire Riz?
I'm fine.
Just the word in general.
Nope.
I'm fine retiring.
Won't do it. Won't do it.
No one actually says it.
Rizzed up all the time.
I'm completely fine with no more Riz.
Yeah, I think that should be just a rule. No,
I like vibes. Can we go vibes?
I think
I like
nothing
vibes.
a 13-year-old says we should say as 30-year-old men.
You talking to a lot of 13-year-olds lately, Jimmy?
God damn it. I walked into that one.
hanging out in the chat rooms with the youths.
Chatroulette.com, baby. I shouldn't
That's
play
still
into
a
that
thing.
joke, actually. Let's not. I can't.
Yeah, Boulder
We
Franco.
just Photoshop a couple of things here real quick. Carry on, man. Keep the show moving.
It's going to be January 6th on Twitter and then me and Chat Roulette from Todd for the next 2 months.
But no, seriously, how are we feeling after? How has your feeling changed from after that game? We were just like surviving a win against the worst team in the NFL, and compared to now, after everything that's gone on in between these moments in time.
I feel like, honestly, we're in the same spot as last week, except now instead of Devondre Campbell being mad and what everyone just assumed as Jair being kind of upset.
Well, we're coming off of a win, which is slightly different, right?
Slightly better. Yeah, so you have that win where somehow the Panthers are worse than Joe Barry, so he won the game. But that's really all it came down to.
52 people.
Was I the only one that had a part of me pulling for the Panthers at the end of that game? I wanted to see them at least get a chance at the field goal.
My sister texted me and said, "I hope we lose."
Eggnog drinks, but I was at the end. I was kind of like in a nihilistic spot where I'm like, "Fuck it, kick the field goal, go for two, win it all."
I mean, it was one of those
Kick the field goal and go for two,
like separately, go for two, do everything, everything to win.
I think it was just one of those. The way that was all just snowballing out of control was like. That was Joe Barry would have gotten fired had they lost that.
Yes.
I felt like that was the move right there. I talked to Jimmy about this yesterday. I got to see his pretty face in person. He was wearing exactly the same thing he has on now.
Not true. Different sweatshirt, same hat though.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's different sweatshirt.
Swapped hoodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Same pants though.
Because I like chaos, I kind of want to see Joe Barry back next year.
It would be perfect. Matt gives him a 1 year prove yourself
Like,
contract.
I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm deleting my Twitter account if that happens. But
No.
yeah, it'd be.
No, but I don't think you can further say like I want chaos and then that like Joe Barry to stick around and then delete your Twitter because then you're not going to be part of any of the fun chaos.
I can dive back. Trust me, I've got access to enough Twitter accounts that I can dive back in when I need to. But yeah, no.
That's the bar bet this week. Over under Todd's burner accounts.
No, I think pure chaos would be something like you find like Joe Barry is no longer the defensive coordinator, and you hire like Joe Barry's son to be defensive coordinator, and Joe Barry stays on as like special consultant to the defensive coordinator or something like that. That's yeah.
I honestly, I might tweet at the Packers and just to let them know that like if they retain Joe Barry, 6 years of sobriety down the drain. I'm gonna start drinking. It's on them. It's their choice.
I can't lie right
is
now.
on your hands, Mark.
I am team Joe Barry back. That is all it took. If I can meet drunk Todd for the first time in my life, I'm for it. Give me 1 year. I can handle it. I'm in.
There is an alternate universe where I would love to see that's all happen.
Right?
I would just like to go visit it. I don't want to live in that world because I don't want to have to deal with that every fucking day. I'd just like to spend a day in that universe.
Do you think Matt LaFleur's comments after the game when he was saying like the offense has to do a better job not having back-to-back 3-and-outs, give the defense some rest. All true things. Doesn't excuse Joe Barry, but then also like that big gain on the sideline, I think it was to Thielen. It was like Nixon again was in coverage, but like I feel like those are the moments though where like that was probably Nixon just having terrible coverage on Thielen, but that's going to be blamed on Joe Barry, which again he deserves because he has sucked for so long. But I feel like we're to the point now where the players just have like they're not going to be looked at as critically by fans right now because everything's going to go back to like Joe Barry sucks.
Well, yeah, this defense is not good. They're not good. But like we addressed last week, you have defensive coordinators out there that can elevate your players, elevate your defense beyond what they would normally be capable of. Joe Barry doesn't do that. For whatever that the point is, the reason for it being.
No, I understand, but like
he doesn't elevate this team.
I understand, but then I 100% agree. But there's moments where like a player just is bad, and like that was Nixon on that final drive getting beat. Is bad.
See, I flip it. I flip it the other way. I know it's easier to do on offense, but like Romeo Doubs and those aren't standout all-pro wide receivers. This offense isn't filled with all-pro talent. But the way the offense works allows them to maximize their skills and be better. Joe Barry's defense, for whatever reason, coaching, motivation, whatever, it doesn't do that.
Do you think part of maximizing Aaron Jones' skills is not giving him the ball late in the game when you're trying to run the clock out and get a first down? Or do we throw a screen pass to Patrick Taylor and then run a go down the sideline and then go, why can't our offense keep the defense off the field? Like that part of the press conference felt like the Tim Robbins in the hot dog costume being like, we're all trying to figure out who did this. Mm-hmm. Like, Matt, do you know anybody that could possibly maybe have an influence on the offense doing something? Like, I don't know. Do you have a running back who's averaging 7 yards a carry?
Dude, he killed them in the first half.
Yeah. And you knew it's just every fucking Packer fan out there knew after that first drive, we were not going to see Aaron Jones for a solid 2 quarters, and that's basically what it was.
He was much more involved in the first half than I expected.
He was, and
But,
he came back more in the second half earlier than in previous games, but it still was like all of a sudden, whoop, like Todd said, like in clutch situations, we're throwing screen passes to Patrick fucking Taylor when Aaron Jones is out on the field.
Like those are the moments where Todd was mentioned, like he's averaging that much. You need to be 20 plus touches. Like when you're just destroying a defense that badly, like you have to be touching it every 3 plays. Like you just have to.
I think that's a really good way to describe it. I don't think this team, I sort of addressed it like earlier, is like when like some of those plays where you see Campbell getting out of position or he looks lost, like these guys aren't trusting each other to go play in the right spot. They're not trusting each other to do the other person's job, so they feel they have to do everybody's job. Yeah, I think that's a good way to sum it up. Do we want any other comments about Sunday's game before we jump into buy around, pay the tab?
Nah, it was a win, but like we beat a horrible team by 3 points we should have killed.
Yeah. If you're wondering if we've talked about it yet, we haven't yet. We're going to get to it though. Don't worry. Let's jump into buy around, gentlemen. Todd, who would you like to buy around for?
I'm going to go with Jordan Love this week. He's been way under the radar, he's having a really good season, a great last 5-6 weeks, especially. And he's been under the radar because the defense has been so atrocious that's all anybody talks about. But shout out to Jordan Love. And he's doing exactly what he's been doing his entire time in Green Bay, just not saying a word, not being a story. Like the way that things have been going, it'd be like absolute chaos if he just like stepped out and was like, yeah, I mean, no one's talked to me about an extension. Like he can't sign one until I think June, but it would still be like if he just stepped out and said that, like, okay, more chaos in Green Bay. They don't know what they're doing. Like he's just quiet, going about his business, doing his thing. Like love that for him. So buy around Jordan Love.
He's killing it. Just some of the throws he's making in these games too, and just being a first-year starter, dealing with all the stuff he did with his time in Green Bay, just the most even-keeled, no drama, minds his own fucking business, goes home to his girlfriend. Like he honestly reminds me as like lifestyle-wise.
Ooh, wait. He goes, do they live together?
Are they married?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Dan's going to throw his jersey away. Don't own one. Wonder why, Dan. Yep. But
but he's got an 8 hanging in that closet.
I think he personality wise, outside of like football, obviously on the field, completely different people, but lifestyle wise, he's kind of like Jamal Williams. Like he just wants to play football and go home. Like you just don't hear much from him. So he's a perfect player for the Packers.
Yeah, I agree. And complete opposite of other quarterbacks we've had in this locker room before, which I definitely
give it time.
I know.
I do miss the Rodgers rants from you though. Like that was one when I would be on Twitter and I'd see something Rodgers said or someone say something that he did. I always look forward to these episodes because I knew just a pissed off Dan was coming, and it was fantastic. I kind of hope for another pandemic so we can get some more COVID stuff.
Jesus. Well, to Aaron Rodgers, it's always about COVID. Jimmy, who would you like to buy around for?
Yeah, I'm going with Carrington Valentine. He's going to have to step up this week. A big fucking challenge, which isn't new to him. He's been playing besides this Charlotte week. Like he's been the top corner for since early November. So he has Justin Jefferson coming up. I know it'll probably be him and Stokes kind of splitting who's guarding him at the time, but big challenge for him. He's done it all season, so buy him around because it could be a really rough week for him. So if we can get him a little drunk beforehand, it might help.
Yeah, this is a whole game of survive the down for Carrington Valentine. This is just hang on and let's just try to limit the biggest. Like I don't know. I strangely feel.
Oh, was that a page out of Joe Barry's playbook almost coming out there, Dan? Try to limit the big plays.
Well, that's all this team does. Yeah,
he's trying to cover up.
Yeah, big Barry guy.
Well, I'd like to see more than just not give up the big plays.
Big Barry guy.
But it does feel like something about me in this game feels like slightly optimistic. Is that like everyone thinks that it's like one of those things of like everyone thinks because they suspended Jair, it's a must-win game. Like I can't believe they're doing this. They have no chance against Justin Jefferson, and then like it comes out and Carrington Valentine has like a ball out sort of game, where it just feels like it's all swinging one way, vibe wise, and then it just kind of will come back the other way.
It's like when we played the Chiefs and Lions, we were the underdogs and we played really well. We're going to go into this game as underdogs. People are going to rule us out. And we're going to have hopefully like a big thing for that Chief and Lions game too, is you saw the secondary just hit people. Like it wasn't the Jairs out there, the top talent, but whatever they did fast and they were very aggressive. So if we can see that again this week, like that's sometimes when you don't have all the talent, you just have to be rough and physical and just kind of beat the other team down. And that's what the secondary is probably going to have to do.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of zone, and it's going to be a lot of Justin Jefferson just camping out in the soft spots in those zones. It's, I would guess it's more death by 1,000 paper cuts than him hitting a couple of big plays. He might have one big play, but it's going to be a lot of 8 to 12 yard, just catch it and get upfield. And for some reason, between the hash and the numbers, Joe Barry just can't figure out how to have someone in that general vicinity. Dudes are just camping there and wide open every time. So expect to see a lot of him there. And then whoever their backup tight end, start him if you've got a fantasy championship this weekend. He's the guy.
Do you, I don't know. Who do you think their quarterback's going to be? Do you think it makes a difference? Dobbs, Mullins.
It's Mullins. It's going to be Mullins.
Well,
yeah,
they're
both
of today,
trash, and they're both going to. Either one of them is going to go for 400 yards.
Right.
They said it might even be the rookie, Ethan Hall or whatever the fuck it is. They said they haven't named a starter
yet. I just don't like Tots. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I
think Ethan Hall would be pretty good. The rookie, I think, is our best bet for playing, or the best bet for the defense.
We thought Tommy DeVito was a good matchup for this.
He is quick.
No, there's no best case scenario for this defense.
It took a game and a half for him to get benched for Tyrod Taylor
after he was NFC Player of the Week.
After the Packers let him be the Offensive Player of the Week. A game and a half later, he was benched. 3 games later, he's out of the league.
Yeah, not ideal, for sure.
Carolina was the best case scenario for this defense. Giving up just enough points to not lose the game. That's best case scenario for this defense. There is no stopping anything. It is inevitable.
I'm calling it. We're going to pick 6. This defense is about to be crazy. Joe Barry is going to save his job based off this performance and next week.
No, you know what's going to fucking happen. And I've been saying this since before the Giants game. After the Chiefs game, I've been saying this. It's all going to come down to week 18 against the Bears at home. Win and you're in, and they will poo the bed. Just like last year, they're going to win a game against Minnesota that nobody thinks they're going to win, and they go home and have a chance to beat a division rival to go into the playoffs, and will lay a huge turd. Watch it happen. Watch it happen, and then drink your sorrows away with me.
Todd, he's talking to you.
Or
Joe
hear
Barry's
me out.
back.
We could have just kept losing games and gotten a top 10 pick. But no, you guys just had to fucking make the playoffs. Just had to.
Okay,
It'd be
I
so
stand
good
by
for
it.
it'd be so good for this team. What this team needs is to not be around this coaching staff at this time.
Well, here's something I want to say about that, because Todd keeps bringing up this as if it was Jimmy and I's personal decision for the Packers to win certain games or lose games.
I was always hoping they would, though, like win them. Like I was never you can't want them to lose. Like that can't be a thing. You never want to go into a game, watch your team on TV, and go, I hope you lose.
I can want anything.
You're right. It's 2023. Live your life.
At least I'm not like Dan, wanting people's death to happen.
Theoretical death. Anyway, what good does a top 8 or top 10 pick like really do? Like, are you gonna get
Matt, I'm a beta, we know that.
Yeah, I was saying,
no one has ever been like that. Todd, talk about an alpha.
Who's the impact player that you're gonna get inside the top 10 that's gonna completely change
Caleb Williams,
this team? That's the thing. You're not gonna get one of the quarterbacks. You're not.
Well, you don't want them
trading
anyways. I was J.K. Owen.
It's about having somebody that might be within reach that falls to me one time on the 55,000 mock drafts that I do, that I can get my hopes up that they're going to take, and then they're going to take a backup swing tackle who's not going to see the field
Jackson
consistently
Smith and Jigba last year.
until exactly like Jackson Smith and Jigba last year. A backup swing tackle that's not going to make an impact until somebody gets hurt partway through their third season. But hey, they also might trade back for another guy in the second round who's also going to be bad. Like there's so much hope to have there, Dan, as opposed to picking 22. They're going to get someone who's not exciting, who's going to play and just be boring as hell.
I don't even know how to respond to whatever the fuck I just heard. I'm sorry.
So what should we do, Todd? Should we fold the franchise? Should we move and be hermits for the rest of our lives? Like what is the plan? If both options in the draft are bad, what is the plan?
You're going to get more return on a trade the higher draft pick you have. So go that route. Here's the thing. I just don't want to watch more of this team this year. They're bad. It's disgusting. It ruins my fucking day.
They're not all bad, though. The defense is. This offense is fun.
When's the last time we watched a game and then got on here and went, that was awesome? The Chiefs, and even that, we were like, well, we're going to fire Joe Barry soon, right?
The Lions game was pretty fucking fun.
The last time would have been the Chiefs.
I enjoyed the shit
The Lions game was before the Chiefs. It's chronological.
I'm saying
when I said last time. So if you look at, you know how a timeline works, Dan? It's linear.
Yes, I understand. But what I'm saying is that if you're talking about the highest point from the last time, when's the last time I felt that high? It was the Lions game. It wasn't the Chiefs game.
I didn't say when was the highest point. I said when's the last time we were excited.
The Lions. That's what.
So you weren't excited after the Chiefs game.
I was less excited about the Chiefs game than I was the Lions game.
There's also some like excitement watching the Panther game. You can either focus on the really good offense or the shit defense. So far this episode,
but the offense was only really good for like 2.5 quarters, and then Matt did what Matt does and was like,
because then they even turned it on and Romeo Doubs got that touchdown. They had those stalled 3 and outs, but like for the most part, the majority of the game, the offense did really well. And they're down Musgrave, Watson, Reed, and they still put up 33 points with the help of a shithole of a defense. Like the offense is something to be excited about and to watch every week.
The offense is good. It's not great. If it was great, we wouldn't be running into a lot of these situations and Joe Barry would be getting a lifetime contract because it wouldn't matter.
Way to speak that into existence, Dan.
I would like to buy a round for somebody on offense. And that's Aaron Jones. Shout out Aaron Jones. Finally able to get in front of Matt LaFleur's face and make him realize that he's on the team. It feels like, Jimmy, you'll appreciate this. You know when like your kid is watching like Bluey or some other show and you're trying to like get their attention and they're just like staring at the TV and like
You have to pause it.
You have to pause it or like do like poke them or do something to get their attention. Like that's what it feels like when you're trying to convince Matt to get Aaron Jones back in the game. You're like, Matthew. I mean, what? It's like Aaron Jones. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So,
Todd's headset idea from last week.
Right. Thank you. And so shout out Aaron Jones, first 100-yard rusher of the season. It's very clear how much he means to this offense. And honestly, I think it really shows how good of a player he is, because I think for me personally, I think I kind of like got a little used to just seeing Aaron Jones and seeing huge swaths of AJ Dillon and Patrick Taylor be the lead running backs of this team and then flip right back over to Aaron Jones after that. It is a stark comparison. It kind of made me realize how good of a running back he is. So
it's like you said at the beginning of the year too. You mentioned like Aaron or AJ Dillon's explosive plays are like 5 yards, but Aaron Jones, he had that 40-yard run against the Panthers. Like when you get a big play from Aaron Jones, it's something like exciting for him to watch. AJ Dillon's just like, yeah, you fell forward for 6 yards. Like it's a good play, but it's not that.
It's always it's a successful play, but it's not an explosive play. There's never anything that's going to come after it. Yeah.
Yep. But Aaron Jones wasn't even just our first 100-yard rusher. He was our first player to get 100 total yards receiving or rushing all season. The first one to break it. It took us this long to do it, but Aaron Jones is finally the first one to crack that code.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the Patriots still, unless they had somebody do it this weekend, the Patriots don't have anybody.
No.
Which they will be the first team in history.
That's very funny. That's very funny to happen to Bill Belichick. I enjoy seeing that.
You mean also future Packers defensive coordinator Bill Belichick?
No, if you ask Iowa Joe, he wants Steve Belichick. I read your article.
I was about to say the same thing. Iowa Joe, you absolute terrorist. If you will that man onto my team, I will hunt you down. I do not.
I wouldn't mind it.
I don't want the big lizard.
I want that.
Dan, don't
on the sidelines.
I'm sorry to our viewers who had to see Dan do that. Now we're gonna have to label this thing as adults only on YouTube.
Label it as real sexual.
For real, no one had a 100-yard receiving game.
No. Dan, this was a common talking point.
I saw the
for me to know
side.
it.
I saw the rushing side.
Yeah, no receiving either, Dan.
Pinky promise. Scout's honor.
All right.
I mean, I know how you like to do your own research, so feel free to look it up.
I have the 2023 Green Bay Packer Pro Football reference tab up. I was about to do just that while Jimmy gave us his pay the tab. So go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I went with just the vibes of the team. Not great. It's we went from Devondre Campbell, obviously the Jair situation. I won't go much in because I know that's coming up. We have hold on. Did you read the outline for the show? I'm improving.
Look at you. 4 years in, and Jimmy's finally looking at the outline.
It only took that long. Devondre Campbell's wife now this week today is saying like, oh, I can't wait for the season to be over, saying, oh, it's just because I want Devondre to be home. But then you look at the likes and she's upset with the Packer team. Like, and it's just liking all this stuff, trashing the Packers. It's like, first of all, we know what the fuck you're talking about. This lie that you're putting out there's not going to change it. But it just seems like people just are unhappy. And I don't know. You don't have to be best friends or buddy with your head coach, but there can't be this like toxicity in the locker room, which kind of makes me worried because that's the last thing a young team needs is even if the offense is meshing, gelling together, the defensive side's struggling. And I don't know if it's because there's not like Kenny Clark is definitely a leader. He's just never been, even he said he's more of a leader of just like leader by action. He's not that vocal. And I don't know if they're just missing somebody on that defensive side to kind of be like, hey guys, get your head out of your ass.
Rashawn, and I don't mean this in a negative way because crying is 100% okay to do, but Rashawn seems like one of those guys that if he gets amped up to start yelling at dudes, he's going to cry.
Yeah.
Like we've all had those people. Some of us were those people where like you get angry and emotional and like tears just come. And then it's really hard if you're trying to amp dudes up. Like, buddy, why are you crying? Like, stop that. So yeah, I don't know that person is on this team. I will say, as far as like Devondre's wife, I'm not going to look too far into that. It's one guy who we know is upset.
Yeah.
Who is going home and venting to his wife about issues at work.
Yeah.
And then she's running with how she's reacting to that. So we're like 4 degrees away from what's actually happening inside. The only difference between her and us is she has somebody that's giving her their biased opinion and insights of what's happening.
Yeah.
Where he might say like nobody likes being there. Well, it might be him and 3 other dudes.
Yeah.
Right.
That are the ones that are really pissed off. But if he's not talking to the other dudes in the locker room because they've isolated themselves as the group that are against whatever they're against, like, then yeah, that's what it's going to be.
Damn it. I hate that. That was a really good point.
Those are the only kind I make.
I've got a really good little tidbit here for you guys. There has not been a single receiver on this team to crack 100 yards receiving this year.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
I thought it was just rushing.
No, gang. I looked into it. Receiving
what
as
a day.
well. I know.
Hot damn.
Hot
Look
dog.
at that. Now, did you look that up or was that like some
No, I
Q
did my
coding you had to
research.
go through?
MakeStatsGreatAgain.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I think Jimmy, you're spot on. The vibes, this whole thing, it sucks. And I sort of sympathize with Todd when he said he doesn't want to watch any more of this team because it just feels like every single week there is just another little bit of, we talked about no QB drama. Well, we've made up for it with
I said
else.
it a couple weeks ago. It was the things that we wanted to see from this team going into the year. We've seen this offenses came around. That's there. The defense isn't getting any better. We know the changes that need to be made there. Just call it. Just wrap it up. Let's get done with the season and move on to the offseason so the changes can happen so that guys can start improving and looking forward to 24. There's nothing left to salvage this year other than getting into the playoffs and getting embarrassed. Like, do you know what Detroit fans want more than anything? Beating the Packers in Detroit for their first playoff game in 30 years. Like,
I don't think they would play us.
I don't think the seeding's fully settled out yet, Dan. So let's hold on to that. But
If
let me
7, they'd play us. They're 2 right now.
They're 3.
Oh, Cowboys are 2? Eagles?
Yeah, and they're
That
not
doesn't
going to
fucking matter.
Cowboys.
Like Todd said, it's still up in the earth.
Like those are those are the things. You want to talk about a team getting up for something? That's their Super Bowl right there. Like, so, and any other team is looking towards the Super Bowl. This is a team that if they get in the playoffs, they're like, cool, we made it to the playoffs. Now what happens? Like,
I feel like at that point, it's like, hey, let's try to fucking ruin somebody's week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the Cinderella story. If they're
I
going to
don't
make
think
the
this team can
playoffs,
do it. I don't think this team can do it.
I think they can sneak 1 win. They can beat anybody. If they can, except the 49ers and Ravens. Take them out of it. They're in their own separate category.
So
The other
So if
30,
you believe-
29 teams, I think
if you believe that this team can beat anybody as it currently is, then why would you not bring Joe Barry back next year?
you can beat. There's a whole saying, any given Sunday. I'm not saying 9 out of 10 times.
What if it's
they're
a
gonna beat them.
Saturday game?
Then they're
Thursday?
fucked.
Monday.
I need it on Sunday, so that expression
Black
works
Friday.
or it doesn't work. I just call it Friday, Todd or Dan. 2023.
I think it's a. I know you're kind of doing a bit there, Todd, with the bring Joe Barry back and everything, but like it is a.
What if I'm not?
It's too
If
late. You already
you-
told us you want to.
I just need a reason to get drunk again, guys.
It kind of sounds like you're looking for a reason.
Tomato.
Yeah, the only, and I don't usually say this because I think it's kind of bullshit, but I do think it does something for this team to make
Wanna
the
know real bad.
playoffs and a team this young to make a playoff game. Like last year when everybody said like, oh, make the playoffs, it's good experience for the young guys. I don't think it really did as much back then because it's a different sort of vibe and feeling in the season. Like Jimmy said, we talked about it last year. The expectation was Super Bowl or bust. And there's like this anxiety of like, if they don't do it this year with Rodgers, he'll never get another ring in Green Bay. This year, it feels much more like hey, we're just trying everything out and we're feeling it out. Let's see how we go. And so to get into a playoff game, regardless of where it is or who it's against, and if it's an absolute blowout or not, I think it does do a little something for this team to say, here's how we react to this situation, to it being a playoff game, to making the playoffs, to this is a win and done situation. How does this team respond to that?
This team getting blown out in Detroit in the playoffs, I don't think they recover from that.
Todd, this isn't MasterChef Junior where one little souffle like destroys a kid's ability to ever cook again. Like these are grown ass men that have been playing football for years.
I'm telling you, it gives Detroit
MasterChef Junior before.
Like they've already got an edge over us. I don't know if you guys remember the last game of the year last year.
Don't you think it would?
I remember one game, and it was the last one. We won.
Okay, well, you do have short-term memory loss. We've been meaning to talk to you about that.
But can't you argue it would do the opposite of saying that's the bar, that's the crown, they run things now? Are we gonna fucking let it happen?
No, because it
would just roll over.
It would put the Lions so much higher in their own minds that every time they come out against us, we can't touch them.
Who are you talking about?
The Lions, the team that.
But if you
that would be an absolutely demoralizing victory for this team.
If you flip it, the Lions have always played the Packers really well, and the Packers have been the top dogs for the last 30 years. So like that, wouldn't you think of the other way?
Fucking makes sense.
What Dan's saying right now of like those are the top guys. It's like when you play the 49ers or Ravens or go NBA wise, like the Golden State Warriors when they had their dynasty. Every time you play that team, it was their championship. It was their Super Bowl because you're going against one of the best teams. So if the Lions are the top dogs in the division, that's something to wake you up every time you play them and try to fucking dethrone the king.
And I don't know. I haven't seen this team ever get up and be excited.
We did it this year against the team we're talking about.
They beat them. They didn't come out and just blow the doors up. They had a defensive touchdown, which helped them build a big lead early, but they didn't. I don't think that game. They just straight up just outplayed.
They literally success. They received the ball,
success,
which was different than any. But before that, they defer. They specifically said we want the ball. The first play of the game, they bomb it to fucking Watson for 52 yards, and then we had a defensive stop or a defensive touchdown, but that's. Thank God we had like that.
So you guys think that them going into Detroit ending their streak of never winning a playoff game against the Packers, you think that would be good for a young team?
I don't think it's gonna fucking ruin them forever. Like you're acting like also if they beat us in the playoffs,
it makes that pedestal that they're on that much higher. And I think this team is too young and too impressionable at this point to overcome something like that.
You might not be drinking, but you're for sure doing drugs.
To come out and just go, they're that much better than us.
Dude, these are grown ass men.
I'm befuddled, dude.
These are the same grown ass men, Dan, that 2 weeks ago you were upset that the coach yelled at them.
No, he was mad that the coach rolled his eyes.
And he stomped.
I wasn't
And he
upset
said,
about the.
he said, I'm publicly shaming you. And they're
I
grown
wasn't
ass men, so
upset
they're
with
never
it.
going to
All
recover
right,
from
this
that.
is how you know Todd has no more to say in his bit when he's bringing up this.
It's no, I'm just not going to let us say that they're grown ass men when 2 weeks ago we were sitting here. Dan was saying that he was upset with Matt LaFleur because he was publicly shaming these guys by holding them accountable on the field.
No, I just don't think that's how you treat people. It's not about being grown ass men. It's just
Don't go down this rabbit hole again. We don't need to argue about this or that
I know.
part.
Well,
we do need to argue about this bullshit
because
Lions
this
thing.
one is a dead end.
No, I just don't think you guys understand what, like, Dan Campbell has given the Lions an edge, and they believe they are better than the Packers. And they come out and they play like that.
Better than the Packers when it was Matt fucking Patricia.
They've been playing like that under Dan Campbell against us when they came out the last game of the league of last year with this only thing they had to play for was spoiling the Packers playoff chances. And they came out and did that. Whoever the Lions beat, like them getting up for a home playoff game with a chance to win their first playoff game since the early 90s at home, and if it's against the Packers, that is huge for them. And I think that they blow the doors off of this team. As a young, impressionable Packers team, I don't think going into Detroit and getting the shit kicked out of you is a great first playoff experience and giving you something to build on.
But that's just assuming, though, that they get the shit kicked out of them. It also could they go there and they fucking beat the Lions and just keep us as the top dogs in the division in that moment.
Yeah, obviously.
But even if they lose, though,
both of those things could happen because the game hasn't been played. They haven't been there. I'm just saying, I don't think that that's a recipe for success. That's not something that I think we like. Really, let's focus on making the playoffs and putting ourselves in that scenario.
I'm not saying focus on making the playoffs. I say that there's benefits to making the playoffs, regardless of the outcome.
But acting like if you lose in the playoffs, it's going to be hard for a young, like the Chiefs lost to the Patriots, Mahomes' first thing, and he's been
games for years.
I'm just confused on that, dude. I don't think it's going to fucking
these
shape
players
them.
have been on the ends of ass kickings for years. Jordan Love went to Utah State. You think he won anything important? No. He's getting his teeth kicked in by fucking Oregon every year.
Yeah, no, I think you guys talked me into it. I think it's really important that this team loses in the playoffs. I think that's a very important thing that they need to have.
Gosh.
Okay, Todd.
I'm going to say the line you said to Dan before. This is very soft to think if they lose a playoff game, it's going to fucking scar them for years to come.
Okay.
It's befuddling.
Okay.
We are over 40 minutes into the show, and we have not talked about the Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I guess I'll get into it.
Wait. Let me clear out. I'll pay the tab really quick. Chris Marinelli's wife, aka Joe Barry. Go fuck yourself, Joe. I'm really, really, really upset that you did not get fired on Christmas, and it really bummed me out. I hope you are. I hate you. Go away. I cleared the deck, Todd. Go for it.
Thanks. Pay the tab. I'm going to go with Ja.
What?
There's been so much speculation of players being unhappy, things not going the way guys want it to. Having a young team, this is a great opportunity for a guy like Ja, who has a very large contract for several more years, to really step up as a leader in there and do his thing. And I'm guessing that there's a part in the conversation that was had about the incident on Sunday in which, had he taken the proper approach in that conversation, he was looking at maybe a fine, maybe you're not going to start, we're going to sit you for the first drive. I would guess his maturity level's not where it needs to be, and that's why this ended in a suspension for him. And I hope that it does send a message to the rest of the team. And it actually, I think it opened up a little bit more insight into part of what Joe Barry is still doing on this staff, which is just because people want someone fired, we're not doing it because a handful of players are unhappy, or these people don't like it, or we're being asked questions about it in the media, or Jimmy's melting down on Twitter. Like this is with a young team. It's just saying, look, there's going to be times that things aren't going to be the way you want it to. You still have your job to do. There are still rules. There's still conduct. There are still things you need to follow as a player and as a member of this team. And if you're not going to do those, we don't care if you're the highest paid cornerback in NFL history, we'll suspend you for a game. Simple as that. So whoever you think you are, that you want to step up and be the next one to say, yeah, fuck it, I can go do whatever I want to. Guess what's going to happen? So I think for Matt sending this message says a lot to the younger guys. I think it does give us some insight into how things are in the locker room. But I also think that this signals a little bit that it's, part of where Matt's at right now with everything going on.
And I know we mentioned last week too, it was about Joe Barry, but like the accountability part and LaFleur holding people accountable. We're seeing that, as Todd's saying, we're seeing that this week. Obviously, it's not the Barry thing. He's going to be gone in 2 weeks anyways. Todd hit it perfect. Fuck off, Todd. Twice in the show, I'm saying.
God damn, that was
he hit it perfectly on the head too.
So let's just play the odds that my last point was probably pretty good. You guys just had pea brains and couldn't understand it.
No. It's the chat never gives you a hard time, but they praise you. They did not praise you during that part. They just sat quietly because they're like, Todd's a fucking idiot for saying this. Another thing though with Jair's, Matt Schneidman, friend of the show, put on one of his radio shows his article about Jair missing, not traveling to New York. He said there's a reason I put out just a matter of fact, like he missed it. LaFleur said it was because of this. There's a reason I said it like that and made sure I had that article out there. Bookmark this article. So and then Matt LaFleur in his press conference today said, when he was asked, like, is this just because of the captain thing? He said, no, it's never just one thing, just accumulation of things. And it got to this point. So it's been building up. It finally, it probably just, he didn't handle it well when they try to talk to him. And I think it just shows like this secondary needs, I don't think Jair's ever going to be to the point where he's going to be a vocal, rah-rah, get everyone leader for that secondary. I think Adrian Amos played a big role in that secondary last year that a lot of people didn't really see. Rasul Douglas played a big role there. And now with those guys gone, you have a lot of young people there or veterans like Jonathan Owens who are just not that talented. No offense, Mr. Biles. And they're coming in there. They're just stopgaps for this year and they're out. And you have Jair who's just, he just doesn't seem like that guy to be that type of leader, which is fine because we see Kenny Clark is not a big vocal leader. Rashawn Gary, we've already said too, probably doesn't have certain qualities that for certain area, I don't want to make fun of him for crying, but certain areas that you want a leader. I think just
it's not making fun of, it's just pointing it out. He even said it that when he got that game ball, like it was in Detroit when he said, I'm tired of crying in front of you guys. Like, hey, he's an emotional man. Let it flow, but it's hard to take that when someone's trying to get you amped up and they start crying.
I will push back on what you said, just one part of it a little bit.
Of course you will.
Is that I find it hard to believe that there was an opportunity for this to be anything less than a suspension, because exactly for like what Jimmy pointed out was Matt even mentioned, like, this wasn't just this. I don't think they would have fined him whatever the max amount. I think, is it like 100,000? I think is the in-season max that you can fine a player according to the PA.
Does the team have to report fines? Because LaFleur was asked about it today and said, have you guys fined Jair? And he said, I don't want, he said, I'm not getting into that stuff anymore.
I don't know.
Because maybe they have, and then we just don't know.
Maybe they have. But again, that still goes to, if this is an accumulation of things, to me, there's really no other way to, like Todd said, put the foot down and hold him accountable other than saying, we're taking you out of the game. The thing you are here to do, we are not going to let you do that. The thing you've built up your whole career.
Real quick sidebar, because I know Katie is about to jump off. Taking the kids to the pool. Katie, is that a metaphor?
Hello.
Hey.
I don't get that.
Don't worry about it, Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I catch up with a lot of people as well. when I'm dropping the kids off at
you
the
know,
pool.
I feel like this is a situation where it felt like in the locker room, whatever was going on behind the scenes, all those things. If you are making the point, I don't think just taking money away, whatever, does anything. I think the suspension you make, it's a public thing. He's not playing in the game. Conduct detrimental to the team. Now everybody knows on blast, like he's gotten to a point where this had to happen. And that's where I think the accountability comes in from. Because in-house suspensions, yeah, like, okay, whatever. If you're being lackadaisical around your teammates, your coaches, whatever, yeah, 100K here, whatever. I'm the highest paid cornerback in the league. I'm not saying that's how he treats it, but like the accountability comes when it's known, like this, we're at a point now where this has to stop. And I think they handled it. I think they handled it perfectly. I think, Todd, I think you nailed every point about it.
Thank you.
I have no notes to add to it.
Appreciate it.
Well, you did add
except for the note that you did just add.
Yeah, about the pushback on the fines.
Yeah.
Well, that is, yeah, I do push back on that a little bit, but
Which is very possible. I wasn't involved in that conversation, but
that's why I do find a lot of this
fucking asshole.
That's why I do find a lot of this discourse around everything here like very silly
and nauseating.
Like
We're still gonna do it.
People sticking up and saying like Matt LaFleur's lost the locker room. I can't believe they've done this. Guys, we don't know what's going on in there. Like, we can only see what's happening out here, and everyone's gonna have different opinions. But like, let's just shut up and watch the football game.
Good, and
don't
people surprised too is we've been seeing this coming for weeks of just little tidbits of no reporters randomly going to ask the coach and Jair, like, is this just shoulder related out of nowhere? Like there's rumblings happening. Right. And then you hear about him not traveling with the team, this yada, yada. When he got suspended, I guess it taking this long was surprising, but the fact that he got suspended was not shocking at all.
Well, and to connect it to the Joe Barry thing, this doesn't have anything to, like, the two are completely separate. Like Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean it's a completely different like scenario. Everything that surrounds it is different. But I think it is an opportunity, like I said, to send that message to a lot of these younger guys that like, I don't give a shit who you are or how you feel or this guy, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore. That's not your job. Is not to pick who your coach is. Your job is to do what your coach tells you.
Yeah. I related back my mom, I was the oldest of 6, and I'd always be the one telling on all of my siblings, like, Mom, he's not doing this, she's not doing this. And she would always
hated you, dude.
She would always cut me off and say, I'm the parent. I will parent. Matt LaFleur is saying, I'm the coach. I will handle Joe Barry in my time. But as of right now, he's the fucking coach. And whatever else you're doing here is unacceptable, regardless of who's your defensive coordinator and how badly he sucks.
That's exactly how he said it too.
Yeah, that's how I would say it.
Yeah, Joe Barry sucks ass. We know, but he's your coach.
Anyway, gang. You know what's not suspended this week? You know who's not suspended this week? The Denver Broncos.
Actually, not suspended,
but
he's benched, Mr. Unlimited, Ryan the Pine. So,
but regardless,
you still can't take the Broncos lightly.
Can't take them lightly, guys.
Just can't.
Stidham is a beast.
Yeah. And with that being said, bar bets. That's game preview.
Let's jump into it. So the Vikings this week, gang, it's a lot of Vikings related questions, obviously. 2 Vikings players over 100 yards receiving this week, yes or no? Obviously, I think it's a consensus. We feel Justin Jefferson will get over 100 yards receiving this week. Yeah. Will a second player for the Vikings also hit that mark? Todd?
5 Bakhtiaris, no. there's just too many open guys for Nick Mullins to hit one enough times to get 100 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a two?
One additional?
I thought a 2 was coming.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying one.
No, one.
Something.
Again, per your lead in to that, I'm already foregoing that Justin Jefferson will be a 100-yard receiver.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jimmy.
He's lying. He just didn't have a second point, so he's covering his fucking tracks. The way you said one was like, "Hey, I'm about to rattle off a couple points right now."
It did feel like that.
That's why we both just sat here like, okay.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
That's
When I said.
I'm Hawkinson's not. If Hawkinson was healthy, I'd say yes for sure.
No.
But because he's out, I'm gonna go no. 3 Bakhtiaris.
Okay. I just feel like if is Jordan Addison playing, because I feel like I heard
He left
somebody.
too.
He's what?
He left the last game too. I don't think we really know yet. I think he's gonna be questionable.
Okay, because if he was healthy, I would say it's easy. I think KJ Osborne could get close.
He's the one that killed us last time because Justin Jefferson was out.
Right. So I'll split the difference here. I'll go 4 Bakhtiaris and say no as well, because you guys kind of talked me out of it. Will the Vikings have a player?
Hold on, you agreed with us, but only went 4. Jimmy, how many Bakhtiaris did you do?
I did 3. He split the difference.
I split the difference. You went 5. He went 3. The middle average is 4, or the mean. Will the Vikings have a player with over 50 yards rushing? They did not have one in the first matchup this season, and did not have a 50-yard rusher last week against the Lions. Still putting up a lot of points, though. So does that change this week, Jimmy?
Probably, yeah. Our run defense is so bad. Anything that's not supposed to happen, I feel like you just have to bet on. Like, yes, we will give Bryce Young didn't have a touchdown for like over a month. He had 2. So yes, they're probably gonna have a 100-yard rusher for their first fucking time. 5 Bakhtiaris, yes.
Todd?
5 Bakhtiaris, yes. Part of the reason they didn't have one over 50 last week was they were down a lot of that game. And we're trying to come back, and Nick Mullins.
But it's
light
50
show.
yards.
It's not that much.
Right.
Against this defense.
The same thing, but sorry.
That's the thing. Like, it's 50 yards. Like, you should be able to have one player get 50 yards rushing.
Unless you're throwing the ball the entire time. But
it's not like they were down 3 scores. They were within like a score most of the game. They were leading for part of the game.
Matt LaFleur refuses to run the ball if he's down 3 points.
I was gonna say, I don't think we can ever be.
And he has Aaron Jones.
Hey, they have Tyson Chandler or Ty Chandler. Obviously, he's really good because I remember his name.
Yeah. Almost as good as your internet connection.
Yeah. I was really worried it was mine. Okay, fine. God damn, you guys scared me out of it.
Coward.
I know. I make no other public assumptions about myself. I'll say no. I'll go 3 Bakhtiaris. Yeah, it just takes one fucking person to rush it. Does that change for you guys at all if it's 75 yards rushing?
Maybe a little bit.
Would that change
yes.
how you feel about it?
Jimmy, thanks for the private chat. We're aware
Jimmy,
that your internet's out.
Yeah, no kidding. Send us a carrier pigeon with the rest of your bar bets or Telegram or whatever. Okay, so over under 1.5 interceptions total this week between both teams. Obviously, Nick Mullins 4 last week. Do we see? Are we going to see a lot of that? Do we think it's going to be? Where do we go, Todd? I'll let you. Do you want me to start? Do you want me to do this one first?
No, I'll do this one again. Jimmy claims his internet's back.
Yeah, they're right here.
Ooh, that's super high def too.
It's
Whoa.
like a 70s porno.
I'm gonna go 5 Bakhtiaris under. I don't think Jordan Love is gonna throw 2 interceptions, and this defense is not capable of intercepting a ball.
Okay. Well, I'll go before Jimmy. Give him a chance to, like I say, close chat roulette and everything else to get
Yeah.
their internet connection here.
Yeah, I had to tell everyone to hold on. I'll be right back.
I will say, I'll say 3 Bakhtiaris over. Just because there's something about this Vikings defense that always seems to create kind of havoc, and the ball gets turned over a lot. It feels like this is going to be a game that kind of gets a little ugly in that sense. It goes back and forth a little bit, and 1.5. It just takes 2. Like that's not that many in an NFL game. So
It is when you have one defense that's not able to fucking intercept a
it's
pass.
Nick Mullins. So I think it just takes one little bad pass.
Have you been watching this defense for the last 4 weeks?
I'll go 3 and say over. Jimmy?
Yeah, fuck. I'm gonna go 5 over. I feel like we're gonna get 2 interceptions alone. So
Damn.
I'll go over. I hope so, at least. I don't know. Wishful thinking at this point.
Love it. Little pick 6 action in there. When's the last time we had a pick 6? Does anyone remember?
It's not 84 years.
Quay Walker, week 1. I had.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good call, Jimmy.
Thank you.
All right. Any other thoughts, opinions about this game? Are the Packers going to be statistically, mathematically eliminated from the playoffs after this week?
Yes.
I'm gonna go no. I feel like we do better as underdogs, so I'm just gonna. There's no pressure on us now. Like we are expected to lose.
I'm also gonna say no, but mostly because if they win, they're still not eliminated. But even if they lose, there's like a bunch of stuff that could happen where they could still make it, and so I'm gonna take the odds on that and say that yes, they'll still be in it. So keep
Todd's
the faith,
just really
Todd.
holding on hope.
Keep the faith.
I respect it.
Don't
Nick
let that
Mullins
light
is
go
going
out,
to
baby.
hang 50 on this team.
That would be insane.
All right. Appreciate everybody that stopped by in the chat. Chat was popping off again. We really appreciate everyone that does chime in, even if it's just to come say, hey, appreciate you guys. If you have not done so, make sure that you are following us on all of our social medias at GameOnWI on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to the page to get notified every time we go live. All of our shows across the platform. For producer Matt, behind the scenes, yes, Corey, thank you. I fucking forgot to do it last week before Christmas, but Happy New Year, guys.
Yay! Happy New
What's
Year.
the big plans for this year? That's one thing I want to bitch about really quick. Way to fucking ruin my New Year's, NFL. Like, this is going to lead a half hour right up to the New Year for me. God damn it. And my wife hates it. She absolutely fucking hates it.
Just go to bed immediately and say, I'm too sad. Sorry.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for sticking around for this long. Hope you have a safe and happy holiday over the weekend. For Matt, behind the scenes, for Jimmy, for Todd, I'm your bartender, Dan, saying cheers. And as always, go Pack Go.